Nobody. Look at that. This place, I've never seen it this empty before. Crazy. But we're flying. So Dennis, what do we call this plane again? The John Deere.
What?
This is the John Deere, isn't it?
This is, we call her John Deere, yeah. Because it's green and because it's been into a few fields.
We were talking in the parking lot. Let's not tell our wives about that.
No.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually, I always like to say, well, the more that it happens, the less chance there is of it happening again. Yeah, this was the one
confidence building.
This is the one that the kid ran out of fuel with in the field in Burlington.
Yeah, that one. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's had more wings. I think it's on its fourth set of wings. Does that make you feel better?
Yeah.
I love it.
With the COVID-19 regulations, we got masks, we got gloves, we got hats. Our dentists are our pilots taking us up for our 9th flight, and this is going to be the most unusual one yet because we're going to be packed into a plane, and we're going to be touring the Halton region, starting off at the Burlington Airpark here, heading over the villages of Kilbride, Campbellville, along the 401 to the Trafalgar Road corridor, highlighting what's going to be happening there in the next few years, along Derry Road, Louis St. Laurent, Britannia, highlighting the neighborhoods of Milton and some of the updates and what's happening with construction projects there.
All right. Chuck Charlton, Colin Best.
Yes.
And we are here at Spectrum Airways.
Yes, no, we're not robbing a bank. We're here to do our 9th flight over Milton, as well as the rural areas of Campbellville, Kilbride, Milton Heights, and the Trafalgar Road corridor, out to Hornby. This is going to be the furthest east we can go, and it's going to be quite interesting to show some of the sights of Milton.
Now, when we started, did you imagine we'd reach flight number 9?
No.
I'm excited. A little bit different today, but we're going to have a great time.
Yes.
And Dennis noted that I lost some weight, so he's my new best friend.
Okay, definitely, yes.
And what else?
Yeah, in case you're wondering about the hat, my hairstylist is on retirement right now.
COVID cut.
Yeah, COVID
The
cut.
COVID cut.
Yes.
There we go.
Don't leave home without it.
Why can't I not get you? There we go.
Yeah, okay.
I'm
that's
not good
fine.
with a selfie stick, but
Yeah, don't worry. It's better than me.
let's do this.
I'm still working on Zoom meetings.
John Deere. Look at that. Beautiful.
Very peaceful this morning. Well, actually, they've updated the interior.
They have. They put
Yeah.
new carpet in.
Yeah, this is amazing.
And I like how it's throwback carpet. It's
Oh, yeah,
not, you can
definitely,
tell
yeah.
it's not modern.
Yeah.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it. Lots of leg room here,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
especially with me in front of you. So Colin didn't want to wear the GoPro on his head,
Yeah.
so I'm jumping on that grenade. We'll see how it goes. That's a new thing for us. Colin, any last words?
Yes, tell Amber that she needs to do her own flight. I got a couple other people asking, when can I come for a flight? Well, you can book your own.
Yeah, the weight restrictions, especially with me
Yeah.
being the size of 2 normal humans,
Yeah, no.
it's a little,
I'm not a lightweight.
it's
either.
restrictive.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could dump some fuel and add them, but then
Yeah.
we'd end up in a field in Burlington, I think. Yeah.
All right. My wife told me after the election, there's 534 people who don't like you. Thank you.
Well, let's not say they don't like it. They just like somebody else better.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if that number's 0, you're playing too safe, right?
That's true too.
So, Dennis, any words of wisdom before our flight?
Well, It should be a nice day. It was clouds were very low this morning, but the fog that they talked about didn't appear. So it looks like we're gonna have a nice morning. It might be a little bumpy, but really the first nice day here in a long time.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to the 9th Flight Over Milton. It's Chuck Charlton here. And go ahead, Colin.
Colin Best.
Colin Best. I'm the host of Milton Daily Homes and the team leader at the Charlton Advantage team. And Colin, what hat are we wearing today for you?
Well, my usual council work as a regional councillor for most of the area we're flying over, and also being on the Planning and Public Works Committee at the region. I'm checking out a few construction sites and seeing what's happening in the area. We're just taking off from Burlington Airpark on Bell's School Line and heading north. We'll be heading over the villages of Kilbride and Campbellville. And Chuck, you want to talk about the rural area?
Yeah, we decided to do a bit more of a rural tour today. Every flight we try and do something a little bit different. We're going to finish off at the end with some of the new areas in Milton that are developing extremely fast. But yeah, this is a fun, we'll get some nice views of the escarpment here. We'll fly over Kilbride, see Campbellville. We're going to go over the Outlet Mall. And one of the unique things about when we're doing this video is it's actually in the middle of quarantine self-isolation. So we're going to see things like empty parking lots and very little traffic. It's a very unique video in that sense.
Yeah, true. And you also see us with masks on. So we're not robbing a bank. We're just making sure we abide by the COVID regulations. And we are allowed to do photo flights. And our pilot, Dennis, has got almost 10,000 hours of flying, so he knows what he's doing. We're just heading north towards Rattlesnake Point and turning to the west along Derry Road, so you can see some of the large farm properties. Chuck, do you want to talk about this area? And
Yeah.
there's the education village. Sorry.
Before I do, I was going to say that Dennis did not wear a mask because we don't want his glasses to fog. That would not be good when your pilot has impaired vision. But Kilbride, we were talking before we decided to do the narration on this video about, people move to the rural area and they're surprised when they have well and septic and in some cases spotty internet and lots of bugs. And I mean, those are obviously the downsides. I mean, the upsides are living in having much more elbow room and smelling a lot more fresh air, great views of the escarpment. I really like some of the food options in the rural area too, right? Cascada and Lowville Bistro and just wonderful places to eat. Resposta and Campbellville.
Yeah, and also you can see we got a lot of golf courses here off of Guelph Line. We're heading along Derry Road now, just past Walker's Line. Also, you have a lot of interesting recreation areas. You've got Rattlesnake Point to the right, and also Mount Nemo. And as we're looking off to the Monaghan mushrooms, we have some great mushroom growers. We're looking close to Guelph Line. And also we have some very large estate homes here, and also beautiful ponds and walking trails in the area. It's quite a great lifestyle. And we're just heading west into the village at Kilbride. Chuck, do you want to talk about Kilbride at all?
Yeah, my favorite destinations when I'm going in this area are mostly golf courses. There's lots of great golfing in the area. As far as the favorite kind of properties, it would be those estate subdivisions with the 1 to 2 acre lots. Big, beautiful houses. It's getting pretty tough to buy them under about $2 million, but they're great properties. Neighborhood schools are also very well known in this area, along with Campbellville, and then going further north to Brookville, which we didn't do in this tour, but maybe in a future video.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, we're just heading around the outskirts of Kilbride. It's a small community. It's in North Burlington, so it's not a Milton area. Milton ends at the Derry Road border. It's also in the green belt, so if you are purchasing properties or home property in this area, make sure that not only check with your local planners, but also such agencies as the Niagara Escarpment Commission, Conservation Authority, and the green belt, because there is a number of restrictions that you don't find in the urban areas. We're just coming along Cedar Springs Road here and circling around Kilbride. This is a old haunt for me. I went to school, to Kilbride School at elementary, so it's a It's quite interesting to see the changes to this village. It's been around for over 150 years, and we're just going to be heading north to Campbellville. And Chuck, do you want to talk about Campbellville area?
Yeah, I mean, the nice thing about Campbellville is you can get really close to the 401. So from a commuting perspective, a lot of people like it because it makes sense. You can get those estate subdivision lots, but still, be on your way to work in just a couple of minutes. But it's a nice little village. Like I said, Resposta's there. I mean, you could go through it in probably 2 or 3 minutes. It's not, what do we call it, a hamlet? Yeah.
Actually, Milton has 3 hamlets. We have Moffat, Brookville, and Campbellville, Campbell being the largest. And we're just heading along the Guelph line here, and we're just seeing some of the escarpment. You can see the Milton outlier, which is to us old residents of town, we call it the mountain. You got Rattlesnake Point one end and Kelso Conservation the other. And also right in front is Crawford Lake, which is a very unique mirromictic lake, which means everything settles to the bottom. It doesn't flow through the lake. And there's a lot of interesting history to this area. And we'll just be heading further north along to the Campbellville off to our left. Here we are coming up along McLaren Road and looking north to the Mohawk Raceway. Also have a quarry application on the left just where those ponds are. This is called the Reed Side Road. So if you are buying an area like this, check to make sure what applications are. This is a small industrial area. That's me in the back with the mask on, so please avoid the embarrassment there. But check...
And garden gloves, too.
And garden gloves, yes, I'm making sure. And there's the 401. We're just crossing over to Mohawk. Chuck, do you want to talk about this area?
Well, we were remarking that we've never seen Mohawk ever that empty before. It's amazing. You can start to see a little bit of, let's see here, the track is over there on the left. And yeah, I mean, this area, just to be clear, is not going to be filled with houses at some point. That's just not how, it's always funny to hear what people's ideas are about, well, that they're developing over here and there. There's a very defined plan for the next 20 to 30 years.
Yes, and that's part of the official plan, which the region's doing right now. It's going to be completed in the next 2 years, looking up to the year 2041. So what you see is what you get here for the next 50 years. We're looking off to the east now, going along the 401. That's part of the Wheelhand Way, which is a mature estate subdivision, as well as you can see that a lot of ponds in the area. We'll be heading off towards Kelso in a few minutes. And this is all part of the Escarpment Commission area, which is quite heavily protected since 1973, and no, it is not changing at all, despite some of the questions I get, as well as Chuck. We're now looking south on Canyon Road, and to the east you can see Dufferin quarries, as well as the former quarry there that are filling up quite rapidly. One of the nice things is we've got an agreement between Dufferin Quarries and the Conservation Authority to turn their whole quarry, when they're finished with it in about 10 years' time, into a large park, which is going to be about 5 times the size of Kelso. So we see Kelso off in the distance, and the Glen Eden ski area. A lot of recreational opportunities. Chuck, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously skiing is a big draw. The fact that you could live in Milton and go skiing in another 10 minutes, great biking, a lot of the trails around here. There's going to be a big community park just a little further ahead, isn't there, in the distance,
yes.
Further east?
Yeah, we actually have 2 parks. One's called the Janik Properties on the Escarpment. Yeah, it's basically the old Milton Brickyards next to Tremaine Road, which we'll be seeing in a minute. There's Dufferin off to our left there, where there's Kelso Lake, and also we've got the quarry at the top. You can see just by our wing. That should be developing in the next few years once they get all the growth there, because you have to let the grasses mature.
And there'll be a beach up there, won't there?
Yeah, there is. You can use it right now. And also we have the Escarpment View Park, which is a 150-acre park coming up on Main Street West. That should be under consideration the next few years. Now looking along 5 Side Road and the new James Snow Parkway extension, which is going to connect up with Tremaine and basically circle the entire town. You can see there's Tremaine off to our right. It should be finished by the end of this year up to 3rd Side Road. Then the next 2 years building the overpass over the 401 and hopefully opening in the fall of 2022. We're now coming up the industrial area of Milton. Chuck, do you want to talk about this area?
Yeah, I mean, the industrial area is receiving a lot of big developments. We talked about the DSV, which we're going to see in a couple of minutes, not in this area, but 2 million square feet of industrial area. It bodes well because the goal is always to have more people work in Milton and live here versus doing the commute.
Yeah, and that's part of the other reason I was wanting to take a flight today. You can see the expansion of the 401. They're basically expanding it from the current 6 lanes up to 10 to 12 lanes from Highway 25 right over to Credit View Road in Mississauga. This should be done in the next 2 years. You can see a lot of the excavation work underway right now. That's the Milton Hilton, otherwise known as the Maplehurst Correctional Center. So if you're not behaving yourself, that's where you might end up. That's a minimum security prison with some medium density. We've not had any problems with this facility, and it's also a great place for people to work at. And looking off to the left there is the Mannheim Auto Auction. If you want to buy a used car, there's lots of locations there, as well as the James Snow Parkway. We're just heading over the James Snow. There's the Walmart Plaza. Chuck, we're just over the Dempsey neighborhood. Do you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, Dempsey is one of those areas that is probably the most convenient place to live. You've got the library, the GO station. You can get on the James Snow really quick. It's probably closest to the commercial hub of Milton, up over at James Snow and Steeles. It looks like we're just about to head over the Halton Hills power plant. Yeah, I was a little worried when they put that in. But
yeah, same here. We're just heading east now along Steeles Avenue. You see Georgetown off to the left, which is also growing. You're going to be hearing more about that over the next 10 years. Basically, Georgetown is where Milton was 20 years ago. And I know the mayor and councillors wouldn't be too happy to hear that, but it's something that's happening at the outlet centre. We're just passing over 6th line. You can see the construction work here. And this area to the south is part of the Derry Green employment area, heading over to Trafalgar Road, which is part of the Adgerton employment. There's the outlet centre, which I've never seen vacant like this before. Chuck, do you want to talk about the shopping opportunities in this area?
Oh, I don't know how many stores are there, but I know we like to go there quite frequently. They've got, the hardest part of this one is trying to find a parking spot. I mean, it's great shopping, great deals there, but even on the weekends, sometimes they back up the entire 401 because of all the people visiting the outlet mall. So it's been a big draw to this area from Mississauga, Toronto, even as far as Markham, Richmond Hill. People come to go check out the stores.
Yeah, so we've just got a panoramic view. Part of the other reason for this flight today is basically creating a baseline so we can look at this 10 years from now and just see the transformation similar to what happened in Mississauga Road, or to the city of Mississauga. Trafalgar Road is basically Halton's equivalent of here, Ontario. Right now, it looks like it's going through an area. This is right now being planned for an employment area, a future GO station right at the CPR tracks, as well as about 60,000 people on both sides of Trafalgar over the next 10 to 20 years. You'll be hearing a lot more about this from local builders. We're going to make a turn onto Derry Road and heading back west and crisscrossing the town. But you can see off to the south here the changes going on in the Milton area in the distance.
Now, what kind of timeline would people expect before they would see this area pretty much looking like here, Ontario?
That's probably about 10 to 20 years, actually. We have allocation in the water and sewer for that area the next 3 to 5 years, so you're going to see some construction starting very soon. We're just going over Van Donegan's landscape, and that's one of the nice things about Trafalgar Road. You have a lot of opportunities for gardening and picking up plants. Now we're going along Derry Road. You can see the DSV plant in the middle, and this is part of a large employment area. Chuck, did you want to talk about this area?
Yeah, I went on the economic tour, and that building we said is about 1 million square feet, and what they had to do was the break area for lunch, they had to put it in the middle, because if they put it on one side or the other, people would use their entire break time just traveling to get to the lunch area. So it's a massive, and they've been really, really good with working with the town. I've heard they've created some new bus routes to help employees. Very invested, I think, in the town of Milton. I would say more than I've seen up to this point. So I'm excited to see where that's going to go as far as the partnership.
Yeah, we're just also passing over the Orlando Corporation, their creation there, and we're just coming up to James Snow Parkway.
How many million square feet are we looking at for the Derry Green Business Park?
Altogether, about 18 million square feet.
18 million, wow.
As well as office, retail. Now just passing over the Clark neighborhood over Trudeau Drive. Chuck, do you want to talk about this neighborhood?
Yeah, this is original. It's like old New Milton. It's like 1999 to 2001 circa. one of the first areas. I mean, this was all farmland, and Mattamy had a little trailer out there, and they were selling townhouses for $150,000.
Yeah, and we're just looking off towards the Beatty neighborhood and heading all the way across Derry Road. If you can see now, we're looking more in the mature areas of Milton, of the Clark and Timberley. Can you talk about this, Chuck?
Yeah, it's interesting to see Clark just on the right, and then we're heading over to Timberley. But the grid pattern of the new streets versus the kind of winding roads of Timberley, it's an interesting contrast. You're talking about, maybe how many homes per acre in Timberley?
About 7 homes.
About 7 homes, and then in Clark you're probably 12. Yeah. And then in some of the new areas, what are people looking at density-wise?
About 24 homes an acre.
Wow. So big differences. So even the older new areas of Milton are much different than the new areas of Milton.
Yeah, we're just heading over the sports center, which also is vacant due to COVID, and also a lot of intensification projects coming up at Derry in Ontario and Derry and Bronte. You can see some of the new buildings at 610 Farmstead, as well as the Bronte West development, which will be under construction next month. And also, I can see your office, Chuck, right in the middle.
Yeah, just over on Bronte, a little north of Laurier. Now, is it true that the hospital might expand again?
Oh, yes. It's got over 40 acres there, and it's got room to basically triple in size again. We're now up to the Scott neighborhood and looking off to the escarpment. Chuck, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I find some of the homes in the Scott neighborhood have the best views of the escarpment. I always love that sun setting over the escarpment. I mean, it's just great. I know my parents have a condo in the Clark neighborhood, and it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Excellent term. Now you can see off the escarpment, you've got Springridge Farms in the distance. We're going to be turning south along Tremaine Road. You can see the farm. This is all in the escarpment protection area, so despite any rumors you might hear, this area is not developing except for the education village around the velodrome, which you can see off to our left there. We should be hearing back later this year regarding Conestoga College as well as Laurier University with their plans for this area, as well as some exciting developments in the education village. We're now passing the Harrison area. Chuck, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, well, I think COVID has kind of taken people's attention versus education villages and so on. But no, Harrison is a lovely neighborhood. You can see just on the left there, you can see that Union Gas Trail that passes through the entire town. It kind of breaks the I guess grid of homes up, and just gives a little more of an area where you could walk your dog and take the kids for a bike ride.
Off to the right is the Walker neighborhood. You can see the new high school under construction on the west side of Bronte, as well as Jean Vanier. We have an application to add another 22 portables to the school just to keep up with the growth of the town. There's a new high school going to be built off of Kennedy Circle and Louis St. Laurent. You can see this is the Ford neighborhood now, which is almost finished. Chuck, you want to highlight this?
Yeah, I think maybe 1 or 2 videos ago, the Ford neighborhood was just starting, and so you can see how quickly the neighborhoods are developing. I mean, what would you say for Cobbin and some of and Bowes? What are we expecting for those? A couple of years each, and they're done?
Yeah. It's basically each square is about 2,000 homes, and give it 2 years. Giving you an idea, this is the Mattamy Martin East and West lands. It's about 800 homes currently under construction. They should be occupied by the end of the year. As well, we have the Nisburn developments to the north, as well as Fieldgate Commercial and the new high school. And that's one thing that surprised me. You could already see the fencing being put up for the new high school area. So I'm glad to see that construction, because we really need schools to keep up with the population growth. And Chuck, do you want to highlight this new area? We're going along Louis St. Laurent.
Yeah, well, you can already see the roundabouts have been roughed in for those new neighborhoods. So that's how quickly these builders are moving on these neighborhoods. And the demand is really strong. I mean, there's still a lot of people that want to move to Milton. Builders experience lineups. I mean, obviously in this times of COVID, it's a little bit strange, but I mean, they're still busy if you talk to the builder reps.
Yeah, we just passed over Craig Heelbooker High School. You can see the development there, and also you can see the stockpile. And that's basically all topsoil that the builders want to hold on to, because it's almost like solid gold to them, because they have to move it back again once the areas are developed. This is what's called the Bowes neighborhood. This already has all the allocations set for it, so you can see construction starting in the next year or two here for a mix of builders such as Sundial Homes, Mattamy, Great Gulf, and other ones. We're just going to be heading back along Britannia Road so you can see off in the distance all of the developments of Milton. And then just highlighting, this is what's called the Boyne Survey. When it's fully completed, there'll be 50,000 people there, as well as 13 commercial areas. So if you're worried about shopping, we got lots of places to shop at. It's just a question of the commercial developers catching up after this little crisis. And also with Britannia Roads under construction as well. This is a little hamlet of Omaha. There's going to be a bypass around it, similar to what you see on Bronte Road in Oakville for the Palermo bypass. So, Chuck, you want to highlight this area?
Yeah, I mean, really, you drive through this. Omaha used to be a little village, and get ready, because the growth is coming, and you see little pockets of it just up in the top right there. Britannia is really going to be, a 6-lane road. This is going to be a very serious place for cars and traffic and getting people to and from. I would say probably next to the 401, one of the big channels to get people east-west.
Yeah, because also on Monday night, Council is dealing with the 28 developers for what's called the Phase 4 area south of Britannia on both sides. That's going to be another 60,000 people after the Boyne neighborhood's finished. So if you think that construction is bad now, you're going to be seeing a lot more coming up. We're just coming up to Ontario Street here, and this is going to be a little node. We have the Mattamy Framguard, which should be under construction. This is back on the Ford neighborhood, and a combination of Mattamy and other developers. Chuck, you'll highlight this one?
Yeah, you're going to see more commercial. The downside for this area in particular, there's just not a lot around as far as shopping, but it will come. We're just starting to see the new overpass off in the distance there. Do you have any updates, Colin, about the CN?
We haven't heard back. It's basically the review panel recommended it with the number of cautions to the federal government. Unfortunately, they're slightly busy with other things. We should be hearing back later this year which way the federal government wants to go, whether approving it, denying it, or putting something in with a number of conditions. This is now the Walker neighborhood just north of that CN application. This is owned by 3 major developers. About 2,000 homes should be under construction next year. And we're just heading over Tremaine and Britannia, and you can see the traffic circle there, and we'll be turning off to the south, and you can see a lot of North Burlington and the rural area there, which is not changing because it's all in the green belt. Chuck, you want to wrap up here?
Yeah, well, we've got a little bit of a nice little plane ride through the country. It's nice to finish our flights in a peaceful area, mostly farmland. Again, there's no plans to develop any of this stuff. You're going to find that most of the development is going to happen to the south and to the east of Milton is really the major phases where you're going to start to see those neighborhoods of 40, 50,000 people, the surveys. And we're just turning around. We're about to land at the Burlington Airpark, and we want to thank Dennis for his expert piloting. I think he's been our pilot, for the last 4 or 5 flights? Yeah, and
I think he wants to keep an eye on us.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I feel safer flying in this plane than I do on the 401. I absolutely love it. Despite the fact my mom and my wife want me to text them as soon as I hit the ground, I feel great.
Yeah.
Good. Well, good, Colin. Any final thoughts?
Oh, we'll be back next year for the 10th one, and we'll be highlighting some other areas of Milton. And if you are interested in seeing some areas of Milton, please let us know. And because it's something that we're using this to also document, and I use these pictures that I take in the video to show people exactly what's happening, so they have a better idea. Because you can only see so much from the street level as from pictures. This shows us almost a 3-dimensional model of what's happening, because we're looking at a lot more intensification in town, and we'll be seeing a lot more construction in the older parts of town too, which we'll be highlighting.
Yeah, it's if you look back at the first, second, third videos, the difference in the town is dramatic.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So let's call him best, Chuck Charlton with the Flight Over Milton number 9. Thanks for watching.
thanks to Dennis and another terrific flight. And just watch out for the pigeon droppings around here.
Look at that. There we go. That's our 9th flight over Milton.
Yeah.
I think we're good for at least another 10.
Oh yeah, definitely you. I'm not too sure about me. At the exhibition a couple of years ago, the cadets had some of their gliders. I checked the tail number. It was one of the back in the 70s.
Point of sale isn't open, so John's just going to send you an invoice.
Okay. That's
Okay.
great.
Can you send it to me?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Just pay it.
Doesn't matter to me as long as
Appreciate
it's
that,
paid.
Chuck.
So Dennis, if someone wants to come on a flight, how can they do that?
Well, kind of in a bit of a restricted mode now, but they can contact me through email, cfi@spectrumairways.com, and I can arrange aerial survey, aerial photography, and that kind of work. We're not doing flight training until further notice. So.
Okay, good. CFI?
CFI, Charlie Foxtrot India, CFI, Chief Flight Instructor at Spectrum Airways. Big cheese.
I don't know how much we heard of that with the motor, but I'll put it on the bottom of this.